how do you define beauty? How do you define beauty? And who taught you that? Now that you have a picture in your head, let's explore that word, the definition of it, and how we can find out how to get to our version of beauty. So, didn't know what beauty was growing up. When I was growing up in a small town in Alabama, what I thought of as beautiful back in that day was going to be like a Farrah Fawcett, a Cheryl Teague, Christy Brinkley, those kind of people, even Twiggy. Because I was in the late 60s. I was born in 69 and into the 70s, where it was hippies, it was long hair, it was blonde, it was blue eyes. It was a mess. For somebody who looked like me, a little brown girl with, we didn't say 4C hair. I think that's really, really cute how y'all define these hairstyles now as 4A and B and C and 3C. We had nappy or curly or straight. That was it. And I had nappy hair. So beauty was defined as something that looked totally different from me. Even on television shows, black movies, those black exploitation films, it was people like Pam Grier, Dorothy Dandridge, Lena Horne, people like that. They were the ones that you saw on television. Or Diane Carroll, people that had very, very Eurasian features, the almond-shaped eyes and the pretty long hair, which, we know they were wigs now, but I didn't know that back then growing up in Troy. I just thought that was just coming right out of their head, So it took a lot for me to realize that you could be beautiful in all different shapes and sizes and hair textures and all the things. That came way later. So growing up in Troy, Alabama, I would do this thing. Y'all, I don't know if you ever did anything like this. I would try my mom's wigs on because she did wear some beautiful wigs. But I would also get a towel. Do not laugh at me. Probably some of y'all did this too. And put it on my head because I wanted to look like this lady, Jane Kennedy. Okay? And this is one of the most beautiful black women I have ever seen to this day. She was very curvy. She was tall. She had long hair. She was just gorgeous. And she actually was a sportscaster for a while. That's how popular she got. But the first time I was introduced to her, she was on a variety show called The Dean Martin Show. And they were called Dino girls, were the girls. They were just the dancers, the singers, the ones that, were always, gaga over Dean Martin for whatever reason. And I wanted to be her. So when we were watching that, I would sit down in my little red rocking chair in front of the TV and I would put my towel on and I would do the things. Yes, I had long, luxurious hair all of a sudden. And I thought that made me more beautiful. So fast forward to now, you see what's going on. You see what's going on. If somebody had this hairstyle back when I was growing up, I would not have considered that beautiful. But now I do. I think it's the best thing ever. I love my hair texture. I love this hairstyle. I love being natural. All of the things. But honey, hair was a ritual growing up. People say hair is your crown. So you did everything you could to texturize it, to style it. I love Afro days. I loved the Afro days because I had a crazy pretty Afro. I'm going to try to find a picture so I can pop it up here and show you. I mean, it was out to there. And Afros were a status symbol for a while. The straighter it was, the more defined it was. If it wasn't right, you just picked it out. And if you were really cool, you just left that Afro pick right in the back of your head because you were ready to go the next time. It was awesome. I love the Afro days. But yeah, I had to really unlearn some of the things that were taught to me or that were influencing me back in that time. We didn't have like individual influencers like we have now. We had major influencers like the newscasters, like the people who were on the TV shows that we like to watch, like our the folks that we went to church with, the folks in our community, our teachers. Those were the people who influenced us more back then. Were the people we looked up to. That's who we respected, and that's who we wanted to be like. Or, like I said, the people on the cover of Ebony or the Jet Beauty. When you open it up in the middle, there was the Jet centerfold. So you wanted to look like those people. And I had to unlearn a lot of that because I don't care what I did, how many surgeries I had, whether I went outside and got darker or I stayed inside and tried to keep my skin a certain shade of melanation. It wasn't going to make me look like those people on that screen, but I tried. Oh, I tried. I mean, I got the weaves, I did the diets, I did all the things, bought the clothes, dressed the way they did, all of that. But it was never going to be my version of beautiful. You understand what I'm saying? Those people were beautiful, but that didn't mean I couldn't be beautiful in my own way. And I had to unlearn that that was the symbol of beautiful, and that was it. No, unlearn that today. Get rid of that thought in your head. You define your beauty. You define what is beautiful to you. It wasn't that long ago that I was quite a bit bigger. I was probably 60 to 70 pounds bigger. At my heaviest, closer to 100 pounds bigger. So I would MC and I would put on a fashion show. So I was with a friend of mine and I said, why don't you have any women in this show that look like me? When I used to go to the Ebony Fashion Fair fashion show back in the day, I hope some of you went to those shows. They were so awesome because it was all Black models, all Black designers. It just let us know that the world is full of talented designers and models and commentators and musicians. It was a show. It was a production that Ebony Magazine put on. But anyway, I wanted to do something like that. In that show, they always had 2 male models and 1 plus size model. And every time, every year when they came through, my mom took me and my sister and we went down there to Dothan. They would do it in Dothan, Alabama. And so when we went, we would wait for the plus size girl. My mom was plus size my whole life. She was a thick, beautiful chick her whole life. And so that lady would get the biggest applause. I mean, you had women that came out there that were this big, 6 feet tall, wore everything, draped, looked like, Diana Ross or some of those folks when they came down the runway. But this plus size, big, beautiful woman got the biggest round of applause. I mean, people jumped to their feet when she came out. So again, that kind of thing stuck in my mind. I always thought my mom was gorgeous, even though she was plus size. Like I said, my whole life had to go get her clothes made because they didn't even make anything but a muumuu or some kind of paisley outfit for her to wear. She used to get her own fabric and take it to Miss Horn. It was a lady named Miss Horn that made most of her clothes, and she looked fabulous all the time, but it was expensive, and she had to get it done herself. Go get her pattern and take it to Miss Horn and get it done herself. So fast forward to when I decided I was going to commentate one more show. And if they didn't have plus size models in there, I wasn't going to do another show. And in fact, I didn't get asked to do another one after I put that out there. I was like, no, I'm not going to do another one unless you have plus size models in there. They didn't want to do it. So I said, fine. I'll create Wonderful World of Fashion. Wonderful was spelled with 2 L's because we were all full figure. We were all plus size. So Wonderful World of Fashion was launched. When we had our first model call, we might have had 5 people. And one of them, she was an elderly lady who could hardly walk. It wasn't looking too good. But we got it together and we put on that first show and it was beautiful. We did it again. I ended up doing it for 10 years. The only reason I stopped was because of COVID. So I think it's about time for us to do it again, don't you? I think it is. What I loved about that show was those ladies would come in with their idea of beauty, but they had the courage. I love that about them. Even though they had a certain way they thought models should look, we called out for people who were size 12 and up, and they came. So what I love about it, though, is some of them would come in with their head down, and you could tell they didn't have the confidence that they needed or that they wanted. And it was because they had learned an idea of beauty that did not include women who were their size, women who looked like them, women who were mothers, women who were wives, women who worked in the school or whatever. They just had an idea that that's the box that they put themselves in, and model wasn't included in that box. But we were going to check that box too. That's what I tried to tell them. So every week, it wasn't just how to walk. It was a confidence booster. Every week we had a lesson, or I played a song, or we said a prayer that would boost their confidence. I knew if I got them there about 75%, 80%, the lights and the cameras and the looks on the people's faces and the applause and all of that and the clothes, that would bring them the other 20%. So they'd be 100% that night for the show. And so the first time we did it, y'all, it went 0 to 100 real quick. They got their makeup done and their hair was done, and they put on these wonderful designs that were designed just for people with their body type. And so they walk out and their husbands see them for the first time looking like that, or the first time in a long time. Their kids saw them, their relatives, their friends, their coworkers. So it was on after that. And so at the end of that night, all of those people in that room had relearned what beauty is. They unlearned those bad things that said, we're going to define beauty as this size or this gender or this race or whatever definition they came up with. And they had a whole new understanding of what beauty looked like. I've taken up enough of your time right now. We're going to have plenty of time to talk in the next episode, and I hope you'll join me for that. Check out the other episodes. Subscribe if you like what I'm saying, because I'm trying to build a community here of like-minded people who want to talk about things that are going to make us feel better, look better, and be better right where we are. Right where we are. I love you so much for spending this time with me, and I thank you. And hey, if you will, in the comments, tell me about when you realize you are beautiful or why you don't think you're beautiful. Let us help you get there. Let this community help you get there, because you are beautiful right where you are. All right? Okay. Well, I'll see you next time.
I've never traveled all alone or built a fire on my own, but I know I can, 'cause it's so